very important that we talked about procrastination being the uh, enemy of time management. But here I'm saying one of the tools for time management is procrastination with purpose. Okay. Now, there is something very interesting. Okay. But that is not very significant. As I said, urgent, important, and significant. So that is not very significant in that sense, in my as far as my goals are concerned. So it is not significant, it is not important also, but it is very interesting and exciting at this moment. Okay, now this is something which is required, that needs to be procrastinated, and that is procrastination with purpose. That I will not watch that exciting clip or exciting video right now. I'll keep it or I'll push it for tomorrow. So that is something which is required. So though procrastination is the enemy, procrastination with purpose is actually a helpful tool for time management. And that also requires high frustration tolerance. Because if you are depriving yourself of something that is very interesting and very exciting, you're going to get frustrated. But you need to manage that frustration. So, unless and until you have high frustration tolerance, or if you have that belief, I should get what I want, when I want, the way I want, then I think time management is far away from you. So, if you really strike that belief that I would get some things sometimes to somewhat extent, then I think, which is a reality, then probably this kind of a thinking or this kind of a belief will help you to manage your frustration at that time. That would also help you to prioritize certain things, and that ultimately would result into making a choice which is towards your goal and not something which takes you away from the goal. So, procrastination on purpose is another tool which is required for time management. I'll
Right.
just tell the audience about what this chart is going to be. Now, this chart consists of your 24 hours divided into half hourly slots. Okay. So, if students are listening to this, my request to you would be make that chart, divide those 24 hours into intervals of half an hour, and then keep a record or make a record of next 8 days. Okay, right in front of that half an hour. So if it was sleep, write sleeping. Don't write it to like 12 to 8 slept, not that kind of a thing, but half an hour, and then writing whatever that you did during that half an hour. So you will have a data with you of 8 days minimally. So how your day spreads like, you would have that idea. Then what you have to do is identify those tasks or those things that you did in those half an hour or more than half an hour or so, whatever, which were the time killers, or which had no significance when it came to your goal. Okay, or which resulted into an imbalance between those three factors, where you have to balance your time between academics, sports and entertainment, and sleep, where this has really resulted into disequilibrium. That is something that you need to identify. Mark those tasks with red color. Mark those tasks with yellow color which are in alignment with your goal but not directly, like commuting or thinking about something or reading about something that you need to understand. That is something that you need to, or even your day to day chores, like taking care of yourself and all those things, having food. So, daily chores and everything, which are, mark them with yellow light. Okay, and see to it that how you really can optimize little time and then get done with those things which are not directly connected to your goal but are necessary for you to really function well. Okay, so daily chores and everything that you do at the periphery of that goal, and mark those things which are actually related to your goal in green. Okay, so it's a signal technique. Green related to goal, yellow not directly related to your goal but essential for you to do, and red are the time killers. Okay, so that is something which you have in front of your eyes rather than arguing with your parents or telling them how you are studying and getting upset with them because they are nagging, all those things, because you will have your own data and you'll be able to identify which are your biggest time killers. So stopping those in that red area is something which is your responsibility if you really are thinking about time management. Okay, optimizing time to do all those tasks which are colored by yellow so that you get maximum time to do something which is related to your goal. That goal can be about your career, about your education, about your academic performance, about the percentage or the scores that you are trying to strike out, or it can be something related to your sports, or you want to achieve to something else, or you want to move to the next level of competence, whatever those goals are. But then green ones are the ones which are directly contributing towards goal. So that activity is something which if you do, you have your own data. It's not based on some feelings or some vague perceptions, but you will have a concrete data, and then you can, because remember, it's only 24 hours. The mathematics is fixed, it's not going to be anything more. So if you identify those things with using the signal technique, then I think you'll be able to really manage your time well. So these are the simple tools. Of course, each tool has its own rationale. It has its own neuroscientific explanation why certain things work the way they work. But I think we have a limited time today, so let us
Right.
really talk only about these tools. So this is the list of the tools that people can use to manage the time well. For parents, I would always suggest that rather than just blaming the teenagers for being careless about managing time, I think if they facilitate this process wherein teenagers themselves learn to identify what are the factors that are responsible for uh, um, not being able to manage time well. So, if they are able to identify it for themselves, then I think they care for themselves enough. They are concerned about their future as well. Okay. So, trusting that, because that is what they have to learn. But most of the times, parents feel and believe that they are not serious, they are not really, they are irresponsible towards their future, they are not bothered, they are just wasting away the time. And then there is a kind of a stress in parent children relationship. There are fights and all those things where again kids start looking at it as nagging. Okay, so my suggestion to parents would be that don't prescribe before you diagnose the problem. And you don't have to diagnose it, rather, help your teenager to diagnose what the issue is. Because remedial measures we have already discussed about, the tools we have already discussed about. But then prescribing without diagnosis doesn't work anywhere. In the same way, unless and until teenagers identify what are the factors, then they won't be able to really take accurate measurements. Because the only tool so far used or talked about was making a timetable. Now, making a timetable doesn't work and has been proven to be a big failure because of these factors. As I said, that your quality 20% time varies, your priority varies. So you have to identify that. So rather than making a timetable, identify these factors and help your teenagers to identify these factors. So for parents, just be the facilitator of this process rather than sitting on a driving seat blaming kids and asking them or labeling them as irresponsible kids and nagging them. I think better idea would be helping them to sit in a driving seat and helping them to drive their own journey. So that is something that I would like to um, ask parents to think about. Again, as I said right at the beginning, that these are the issues that we have talked about, because these things require a kind of a healthy and a rational communication. See, teenagers require one reliable, dependent, and rational adult. Okay. Now, if there is a healthy communication between the teenagers and the parents, then I think these are the issues which teenagers themselves will be able to resolve, because it is about them, it is about their goal, it is about their career and not parents' career. So, communication is the key to uh, facilitate this process. So it can be time management, it can be about impulsive behavior, lot of things, it can be about screen time, lot of issues. So communication is the key, and they need to really have that communication in place to be able to facilitate. And for students, I'll or for teenagers, I'll say only one thing, that saying no to time killers today is like generating more time tomorrow. Because if you say no very assertively to the time killers today, then you will finish up lot many tasks which are urgent, important, and significant for you, and that would automatically result into having more time tomorrow. As I said, most of the times, timetable was the only tool which was suggested, and people started making them, and then 2 3 days, and then fourth day normally is the failure of the timetable, and then again the same cycle begins. So I think I tried to share my thoughts on time management. uh, it's a vast subject anyways, but these are certain ready to use tips I can say that I have shared so far.